Well, Jim, before we move completely on from the sad news of passings in wrestling and another wrestling death this past week, someone you weren't around too much, if ever, but Virgil.
Some, yes.
Virgil, who most famously was the bodyguard for Ted DiBiase, then had a babyface run after that. They later brought him into the NWO and WCW as Vincent, and then they changed his name to Shane. He was also Curly Bill and Soul Man Jones, I think, and...
No, Soul Train Jones.
Soul Train Jones, that's right. But Virgil just passed away. Any thoughts on this? Certainly a memorable character from the height of WWF.
Do you know who first told me about, well, his name was Mike Jones. So do you know who first told me about Mike Jones?
Based on where he was working, my guess is going to be Randy Hales.
Brian Hildebrand.
Oh, really?
Brian Hildebrand, Mark Curtis, for those of you 90s WCW referee fans, because he was from Pittsburgh. And that was the period of time, what was it, 86, 87, where several of the guys from the Pittsburgh, West Virginia independent scene that was kind of rudimentary at the time got booked in Memphis. There was Virgil became Soul Train Jones, and they dressed him up in the red, white, and blue striped Apollo Creed gimmick from Rocky. And he was a babyface. And then a guy named Goliath, who was, I don't remember what his real name was, but he was like almost 7 feet tall and long hair. Goliath got a spot. And also Downtown Bruno Lauer, because Bruno had been working as an indie manager also up in that area, and he was Brian Hildebrand's nemesis, right? Brian was always wanting to get in a territory, and Bruno beat him to it and got into Memphis. Because Bruno could do a bit better promo than Brian Hildebrand. Brian was a better worker, but he was too small. Nevertheless, he said, yeah, Soul Train, they're calling him Soul Train Jones, and he's doing an Apollo Creed gimmick in Memphis. And of course, then I got the tapes from, most of the territories on a monthly basis. And so I saw him and noticed him more because Brian had talked about him. But, you could tell he was green and he was a good athlete, but that was a period of time in Memphis where not too much was going to get over, but he did a good job with it and was there probably longer than those other guys. And then then after that is when he got the spot as Virgil, which, as everybody has since known, it wasn't a common knowledge then to the average fan going to the shows, but they were trying to fuck with Dusty. Dusty was the booker for the opposition, so we're going to make the stooge, the servant, the butler, we're going to give him, your real name. And so then when the shoe was on the other foot and he went to work for WCW, in what, 99 or whatever it was, for the NWO, it was, they named him Vincent after Vince McMahon because he was the NWO's flunky guy.
He really was the perfect guy in the role of Ted DiBiase's bodyguard. Because, anyone could have been slotted in there, but he portrayed it the right way. He never talked. He always gave you like a stern look. He always got his ass kicked. But he still came back and you thought he may be tough because he was a big jacked up guy.
Yeah.
But he was perfect in that role.
And they worked it, when they were out in public too, traveling together. He would open the doors and carry the bags. And well, that's the thing, is some people were saying, on the internet after he passed away, is that he would do whatever. When he showed up at a show, what you want me to do, whatever you want me to do, as long as I get paid, right? And getting paid was a part of most of his modern era or latter day fame in the links that he would go to sell his gimmicks or merchandise or selfies, or if somebody, on the bus asked him for a picture, he'd charge him for it, whatever. But he committed. He would always give 100% to whatever he was doing, and he didn't mind, having people see him carrying Ted DiBiase's bags at the hotel because it made the gimmick.
It made the gimmick and it worked, and they were together for a few years, and then they finally built him up with Roddy Piper behind him to turn babyface, to have enough of Ted DiBiase's sudden abusiveness. He was never really abusive to Virgil, and then all of a sudden he became a real jerk.
Yeah.
And then Virgil turned babyface and won the $1 million belt. And it's easy to forget now, and he certainly became a comedy figure later in life, but on purpose, on social media and stuff. But for a brief moment there, it worked, and they got him over, and he was really over as a, upper mid-card babyface holding a WWE $1 million belt title.
And, that's why I was going to say I was briefly around him, because as I do recall, I sound like, the voiceover guy on fucking Iron Chef. As I recall, he was there when we first started making shots in 93. Virgil was still there, or he'd left before, but he was there.
No, he finished up. I think the last night was Royal Rumble 94, the beginning of 94. Okay. So he was there.
So he was there. And I mean, once a month we'd go up for TV. I never sat down and had any in-depth conversations with him, but he seemed like a, halfway normal, rational person for this business. Admittedly, the bar is low. But then I really, have never spent any time around him since then. Maybe we were, at the same convention at some point or whatever. But then in recent years, I would hear the tweets about the Olive Garden meat sauce, or, I mean, and,
we had a series of videos where you and him, or you and whoever runs his social media, were in a very funny fashion going back and forth.
Well, that's what I'm trying. I don't even remember the details now, to be honest with you about that. You reminded me of it earlier, but that's what I was going to ask you was this a case where, I hate to speak ill of anybody, but was it like the Iron Sheik, where for a while there, maybe he wasn't, all right, and people were taking advantage of it? Or was it did he just decide to become a wacky person in his, latter years and for the social media thing? And I don't even, like I said, I find it hard to believe anybody my age sitting there tweeting wacky things to the kids out there, or, texting or whatever. But I do know that some of the guys have people that run their social media so they don't have to fuck with it, and they say outlandish things. But what do we know? Was Virgil serious with all this? Do we know yet to this day? Or was he pulling all of our puds, as they say?
I don't know what he pulled, but it was certainly a social media team, and it was a concerted campaign. Bizarre at times. I'm not exactly sure where they were going, but it got people talking about it. I just read something. It may have been Greg Oliver's column in Slam. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head. And I was blown away by this. It said after wrestling, he went back and got a degree in mathematics.
What?
Yeah, I was like, what? Where did that come from? I never heard that.
Well, no, what he was always good with his money. No wonder he could count so well. He wanted to make sure he got a turn to profit on those selfies or whatever. But no, he
learned a lot about counting with Ted DiBiase's money in his hands.
Well, there you go. But no, we hate to hear that. No, never any personal issues or anything with Virgil, and we wish his family and friends and who got custody of the Soul Train Jones outfit. I might be interested.
Or the meat sauce. We need to find out more details.
But, they never got to actually market his own brand of meat sauce. Is that what they were going for?
Well, I think the problem was the holdup was WWE owning the rights to the name Virgil. Because without the name, what are you?
Just Mike Jones's sauce probably wasn't going to, hey, would you like to get some of Mike Jones's sauce? Where? Well, right over here at the store.
Well, of course, like you said, we send our thoughts to the friends and family and fans of Virgil. And of course,
fans of all meat sauces around the world.
And the Olive Garden. But Jim, Virgil started out, like you said, Soul Train Jones. And Soul Train had a lot of really great music. And you could listen to lots of great music with Raycon.
Oh, good Lord. So, boy, what a cold tag.
That was lukewarm. That was lukewarm.
Well, here's the thing. Lonely Virgil became a meme. Pictures of Virgil sitting at his merchandise table with nobody there, nobody coming up and spending any money, a lonely Virgil. But you know why he wasn't lonely? You know why he didn't give a shit? You know why he was just sitting there, just minding his own business? Because the whole time he was grooving to the tunes that were invisible to the naked eye and unaudible to the naked ear, because he had them going on his Raycon wireless earbuds.
That's
Now
right.
you can see it in a different light, can't you? I say, can't you?
I can, yes.
You can? Well, yeah. Well, a whole different light, because he's sitting there enjoying the soundtrack to his life without any distractions or aggravations or frustrations or worries from people coming up and handing him money. And let's face it, folks, most of you out there listening right now, nobody tomorrow is going to come up and just hand you money to be able to take your picture, because you're nobody and nobody cares for you. So drown your sorrows by listening to good music.
Nobody's nobody. Everybody's somebody.
Well, everybody loves somebody sometime. And you can't please all of the people all of the time, but you can fool some of the people some of the time, unless you're a nobody, in which case nobody's going to pay you to take your picture. So if I'm mistaken, if somebody is out there listening, then I'm not talking about you somebodies. I'm only talking to you nobodies. If you're somebody that somebody is going to come up to tomorrow and pay to be able to take your picture, then this does not apply to you. But if you're one of these regular garden variety schlubs where you can walk up and down the street all day, you can get on the bus, you can get on a subway, you can get on a plane, you can get on a train, you can get on a car, you can get on a tractor, you can get on a bicycle, a motorcycle, a tricycle, you can get on a hover round, you can go up and down every main street in town. Nobody's going to stop you and say, I'll give you $10, let me take your picture. I'm talking to you. Because you need something to take your mind off your troubles, folks.
Yeah.
And that would be the Raycon wireless earbuds. You take these little dads with these gel tips that makes a lubrication easy, and they're going to pop right in your fucking ears, and they ain't going to come out. You can shake your head. You can turn cartwheels, handspring elbows. Folks, they will not fall out. They will not be jarred from your skull by earthquakes, tornadoes, or potentially hazardous conditions related to chemical materials. They're in there, and you can listen to anything you want with 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. After that, well, things get iffy, and you might have to plug your ass back into the wall. 3 customizable sound profiles with earbud tap functions, including noise isolation and the awareness mode, so you can both isolate yourself from noise and at the same time be aware of any modes that are going on in your area. And you can sign off on anything related to the Raycons, knowing that they're not only of the highest quality, but also they cost half the price of the other premium audio brands. And you know why? Because there's some things involved in the supply chain with Raycon that are falling off the truck. That's why they could give you these incredible deals, because...
That's not why, and that is not why that they can give you these incredible deals for legitimate reasons, not truck emptying reasons.
Falling off the truck.
Well, it's an empty truck once everything falls out.
Well, no, the truck starts out full, but then it gets there. Well, there's a few things that have fallen off, and that's why I'm not going to give any details, but the government is not involved in these transactions. That's how they can pass the savings on to the consumer.
Nor is the truth.
8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. Just think about that. You just think about it.
Just think about it, okay.
But anyway, so half the price of the other premium brands because of all these things that we mentioned and so many more involving, the rights to certain syndicates and docs and enforcers and things of that nature. These products can get to you.
No. Well, yes, they can get to you.
These products can get to you through a variety, a circuitous route involving lacks of customs and undersea vessels that sometimes transport things across the international date line. But nevertheless, you're not going to pay as much money as you would if you just went to a store and took no risk of being arrested. So, right now, if you go to buyraycon.com, BUYRAYCON.com/JCE, not only are you going to pay half the price of these premium legal brands, but also you're going to get 20% off the gimmick price that they give you because somebody along the chain of command is getting shafted. So that's like 20% off, 50% off.
They're giving you a good deal because they care about their customers. Not everything is nefarious. Not everything involves some weird dock and people falling off trucks and whatever's happening in your world.
And the international date line, don't forget about that.
It has nothing to do with Interpol.
Well, it's 7 miles offshore. You don't have to pay certain fees. But, folks, once again, you're going to save a bunch of money regardless of who you harm in the overall scheme of things.
You're not harming anyone. What are you talking about? There's no harm, no foul.
A lot of these customs officials, they might not be getting their bribes if you do it this way because we're keeping it under the table. Anyway, right now, again, if you go to buyraycon.com/JCE, you're going to get 20% off the pittance, the measly mere bag of shells that they charge for these fine earbuds, and you're also going to get free shipping. So you don't have to pay for the postage to send this stuff to your lazy ass. You're going to get 20% off an already horribly, deeply discounted price. And you're going to get fine quality earbuds with all kinds of buttons on them that you can use to make different noises. And then with your super hearing, Brian, do you need earbuds, or when you walk down the street, can you just listen to other people's earbuds, hear inside their heads?
I can usually hear, if someone's next to me with earbuds, I can hear what's going on. I have super hearing. I can hear all sorts of things.
Well, that's why I mentioned the super hearing. So you don't need, but if you don't need earbuds, but if you don't have super hearing and you can't listen to other people's earbuds, you need earbuds.
Earbuds don't help you listen to someone else's earbuds. Earbuds help you listen to the sounds you want to hear in your ears.
That's what I'm saying. If you can't hear other people's earbuds, you need a set of your own, because then if you don't have your own, you won't be able to hear anything.
I could hear that silence.
Well, I'm just waiting for you to agree with me. What I said was perfectly logical right there. Go to buyraycon.com/JCE today, 20% off your Raycon order and free shipping. You'll never believe how inexpensive it is for you to hear music and voices inside your head.
That's right. Raycon, buyraycon.com. What is that promo code one more time, Jim?
JCE.